Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I have something really different. So I'm working through the Living Water devotional from Creative Retreat Kits, and this is like the majority of it is looking at the Samaritan woman at the well. And so when I sat down to journal, I realized that this story is smack dab in the center of where I already have journaling on both sides of the pages pretty extensively. So I'm actually going to create a little like tip-in insert piece to go in here for my journaling entry. So this is actually going to be my entry today. So for those of you working in the Illustrating Bible, I'm going to show you how to make this with the punched holes to fit in here. But if you're just working in a standard journaling Bible, you could do the same thing and then just adhere it with double-sided adhesive or with washi tape into the center of your Bible, whatever works for you. So I went ahead and cut down a piece of watercolor paper. I'll link it down below what I use. Cut it down to 3 by 5 because I just wanted just a little journaling spot. We're going to do some artwork on the front and then I'll leave myself room to journal on the back. And in the unboxing video, I had mentioned, I'll link that video down below, I had mentioned using this stamp kind of like an Art Impressions stamp. And if you've watched any Art Impressions videos, they use water-based markers to ink up the stamp and then take a damp brush to draw out the color. Now, I don't have the particular markers that they use in those videos, but I have some Zig Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I have some Arteza real brush pens. So these are more like real brush rather than like a marker tip, but I think these will work. We'll give them a try. The nice thing about working on a separate piece of paper is if it doesn't work, I can throw it away and try again. So let me go ahead, we'll put you on fast forward and we will get this little tip-in piece put together for the entry today. Okay, so I've gone ahead and just set everything aside and I have this watercolor cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and load up this stamp on a stamp block and we're going to give this a go with the markers that I have. So lots of the videos I've watched, they usually kind of mix a couple colors onto the stamp just to give it some variety. So I'm going through my brush markers and trying to find some colors that I want to use for the well portion. So I decide on some blues and browns because I wanted kind of an earthy, an earthy tone, but not just plain brown. I end up getting way more blue than what I wanted, but you know what? In the end, it all kind of comes together. So I'm just going in with the marker and carefully coloring the well portion, and then the rope is going to be just brown. The well will be blue and brown, and then I can go in and color in the grasses with a couple different colors of greens. Now this will work with any water-based markers, so like if you have the Distress ink markers or these Arteza pens, Tombow brush pens, anything like that. So what you'll see is off camera, I really quick breathed hot air on the stamp, and that just activates any of the ink that might have dried while I was working on getting the color on there. And then I have this paintbrush, and what I did was I dipped it into the water, and then you saw me kind of pinch the tip of it. What I'm doing is pinching off any of the excess water so it's just barely damp. And then I can go in and just lightly go over the areas of the stamp, and this just starts to pull out some of the color from those lines. It makes it look like it's filled in and watercolored, but you still maintain the stamped lines as long as you don't scrub too much. If you get too much water in there and you scrub too much, you could totally obliterate your stamp lines. But as long as you're just using a very like barely damp brush and hardly any pressure, you get this look here. So you can see the grasses had a couple different greens, and it just really, it looks like you watercolored this image and it took like a couple minutes. It's amazing. I need all kinds of stamps like this and do this technique all the time. I get questions all the time about the Art Impressions stamps, and I had never tried them, and now either Creative Retreat needs to do more in this style or I need to try some more stamps like this because it was so much fun. So on my block here, I've scribbled out some purple and some yellow pigment, and then I'm just picking it up with a paintbrush and just dotting it in just to kind of create like some flowers down here at the bottom. It was looking a little bit too blue and green and just needed a little pop of color, so I didn't even make like flower shapes. I just dotted the color down there to look like little wildflowers, so you get this very loose watercolor look. Now I do want to add a little bit of a background in, so I am going to dry this first just to make sure that when I come back in with more water, I don't accidentally get what I've painted to bleed into the sky. So for the sky, I'm going to go ahead and pick a gray and a brown, and I know that sounds totally not like a sky color, but I wanted some contrast with the blues and greens that I have already used, and this particular gray is a cool gray. You can see it's kind of a bluish gray. And then I'll add a little bit of brown, and this ends up being beautiful when it dries. It's like all of these like purpley tones and grays and brown, I don't know, all these fun colors come out when it dries. It was really, really pretty. It kind of gives this overcast, kind of rainy day look to it. So I did add a little bit of water to the page, or like to the paper, and then now I'm going in with just a little bit of color. It's better to go in with a lot like watered down color, like light color, and build up layers than go in super dark and heavy handed from the get-go. So you can build up layers, because I want it to be, it's sky. It doesn't need to be super, super dark, but it does need a little bit of color in the background there. And then you can see as I move up the paper, I'm just letting that fade out. I even bring in just a little bit of plain water to kind of wash out that top edge. And I love how this came out. I think it came out so pretty. It was so easy, pretty foolproof. I really encourage you to try this technique with this stamp. I think you'll be really surprised, and depending on the colors that you use, you can get different looks from this. I did splatter just a little bit of that color on there just to add some texture and just some interest to it. And then I'll go ahead and completely heat set this. Now I felt like I lost some of the definition in the stamp just because it's a pretty detailed stamp and it really isn't intended for this type of technique. So I'm going in with a really fine tipped black pen and just very messily adding some little sketchy lines around the image just to kind of define some areas and darken up the well just a little bit, because like I said, it was a lot more blue than I had originally intended. Now I pulled out this stamp set. I believe this is from March of last year. If it's still available, you can find it in the shop. I'm not sure if it's still available, but I'm going to create like a little title on here. Now I am going to go ahead and use my stamp positioning tool because I am stamping on watercolor cardstock, which is textured. And so this way, if I don't get a good impression, I can re-stamp it if I need to, and it'll be in the exact same spot. So I pulled out from the past stamp set. It says "He is my," and then I'll use Living Water from this month's stamp set. So "He is my Living Water." I went ahead and put that on the lid of my stamp positioning tool. Everything will be linked down below if you want to check out where you can order these supplies. That will be in the description box for you guys. Inked it up with some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And then I got lucky. I got a good impression that first time, and I love that. Love how it looks. The two fonts are different, but they work well together, and it's just, it's so pretty. I'm obsessed. So to create this as an insert for my spiral bound, I have a planner punch board, and then they sell these separate spiral punches. I will have everything linked down below. I'm using the gold punch. And I'm going to link another video down below where I show a slower, more detailed look at how you use this. It's really, really easy. You just line up the punches and punch down the edge there. And it creates the perfect spiral punch that will work in the illustrating Bible. Now on the back side, I'm going to go ahead and do my journaling. And like I said, I'm going to insert this piece in John chapter 4, where there's the story of the Samaritan woman at the well. And he's talking, to her about being thirsty and coming to a well that will give her water that will make her never thirst again. And one of the prompts for the kit this month is, are there any areas of your life where you're feeling dry and thirsty? And I just kind of sat and thought about it for a minute and thought, okay, where do I feel like I'm spiritually thirsty or spiritually dry? And honestly, this is going to be a really weird answer, but it's my own personal Bible study time. And a lot of you might not think that because I have, videos that post 7 days a week and I'm in my Bible every single day and, going to church and going to Bible study and all these kind of things. But I feel like 90% of my Bible study is with the purpose of pouring into others, not necessarily for filling myself up. Now, I do get, something spiritually out of these studies that I do on my channel for these videos and things like that, but not very often do I just get to sit and just let God speak to me and bring scripture to me for me and my soul and what I'm going through and my circumstances. It's all based off of different devotional contents or different, things like this kit this month. I need to create videos for this living water scenario and just that kind of thing. And so I really need to remember to fill myself up before I can fill others. And so I just kind of journaled out a little bit about that on the back of this card. And I'm going to try to be more focused on that, just having my own private, quiet time with God. So you can see I used some of the stickers from the kit, used some alpha stickers from a past kit, and just tip that right in there and it's good to go. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out the description box for links to everything that I used today. I hope you'll give this a try. I loved it. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.